being free from the past doesn't mean you don't remember, you don't recall, but it's free from the pain, from the limitations, from the damage and the hurt, from the disappointment. And when you can truly free yourself from that energy of the past, you can open up to experience and be more fully in the present moment like never before. You can begin to connect and align with a different future, a different destination called your destiny. You can begin to align and have freedom to choose the future that you would like to create. When we're stuck and mired in unfinished emotions from finished relationships, when we're stuck and mired in old haunting memories of abuse and pain, it limits the scope of what's available to you today. It limits the scope of what is possible for your future. So as we enter into this new year of 2022, this very first month of the year of belonging, as I label it, the year of belonging, while being free from the past and being able to understand your relationships in the past can open up the door to deeper levels of connection and belonging with yourself, with other people, and with the world at large. So your past can help create a bridge to belonging. It's one of the benefits. Another benefit, as I mentioned, is that you're fully in the present moment. No longer is the past haunting you. No longer is the experiences of pain and fear holding you back from shining your light, from being fully present in the present moment. And likewise, the other benefit is it opens up the range of possibilities for your future that are brighter than would be possible if you just ignore your past, pretend it doesn't have any influence, to keep the pain of the past alive. So freedom from the past has these benefits, and also you can learn and discover the innocence and the beauty of your journey in life. And then you can begin to accept that your past wasn't a mistake. You know, the many if-onlys. If only this didn't happen to me. If only I didn't get married. If only I didn't get divorced. If only my favorite aunt didn't die. If only. All of the ego's excuses. Hear this. All of the ego's excuses, the negative ego, the immature ego, all of its excuses is justified and anchored by your past. So as you set yourself free from the past, you take your power back from the limited, immature ego. And then that ego can begin to grow and mature and become a liaison versus an enemy. It's not about forgetting your past at all. It's about moving beyond it so that you're neutral when you think and feel and reflect upon your past. You're not triggered. And when you change your relationship to fear, which I'm going to talk about actually, it will change not only your future, but can help you to mature and move beyond the pain of the past. Your past is always going to be a part of you. It's always going to be a part of you. And it is, hear this, your past is part of your path. Now, the ego says, oh, no, I would have never chosen those parents. I would have never chosen that living in the cold. I would have never chosen. Well, your ego didn't choose your empowered destiny. Your ego didn't. Your soul did. And your soul did for very specific reasons. And even the pain and the frustration and the challenges of the past is a part of your path toward empowerment. It's part of your journey toward wholeness. And when you can realize that, you didn't waste your time unless you ignore and deny it, unless you don't retrieve the treasures from your past. But when you realize your path is a part of your past, your past is part of your path, you can begin to seek to understand it, to take your power back, to reveal the treasures, and to more elegantly accelerate yourself forward toward a more bright and brilliant future. Freedom from the past is so much about what is real about your past. What is real about your past today, in the present moment? Well, what's real about your past, first of all, is your recollection. It is your memory, right? What you choose to remember about your past. And what you remember is filtered by your attitude and beliefs. It is filtered, and how you view and what you hold on to in the past as being real for you is only a part of what actually took place. And I love this story about two men who grew up with an alcoholic father. Two boys, twin boys. And they grew up with an alcoholic father. And the father was abusive, ignored them, was mean, was cruel. And these two twins, identical twins, and we'll call them David and Danny, just to make up these names because I don't recall. These two twins experienced the same father, the same environment. They even lived in the same room for the first 16, 17 years of their lives. And yet, as they grew and matured and became men, Danny became an addicted alcoholic drug user, ended up doing cocaine and doing heroin and slowly destroying his life. Where David became a successful attorney and lawyer and moved on and raised a family and became a very successful, empowered, loving person. One was very bitter, one was very hurt, one was very angry. And so the other one became this loving, powerful, and influential person. But you ask them why they became who they are, and they'll both tell you the same reason. It's because of my abusive father. But they have two different realities. So one decided, because of the abuse, I'm going to feel sorry for myself. I'm going to give away my power. I'm going to give up hope for the future. I'm going to abandon myself because of my father, and I want to blame and punish him by becoming this drug-addicted nobody in life that was just suffering and struggling and in pain. And that was his response to his father's alcoholism. The other one decided, because of my father, I want to grow and stretch and become more and help other people. I want to get involved with life because of the abuse. Both of them had a reason. But what changed the reality to very different futures and experiences, both born out of the same experience in the same thing, was their relationship to their father and their attitude and belief about what that means, their interpretation. You see, the past has no meaning. Hear that. Experiences in life, all the experiences in life have absolutely no meaning. We, as human beings, attach meaning. We choose and attach meaning to what happened to us. And an example of this is, rain. Rain happens, right? Rain happens. It's a part of nature. Well, when rain happens to a farmer who's been in a drought for 2 years and it starts to rain, his reaction is, oh my God, it's going to rain. Thank God, it's going to save the crops. It can help the fields. It can help the plants. He's elated with that rain. On the very same day, in the next community, to a woman's outdoor wedding, it starts to rain. And it's like, oh no, it's going to ruin my life. It's going to ruin the wedding. It's going to be a disaster. Oh my God, it's raining. I hate the rain. But rain happens. And it's your relationship to rain and the impact that it has that you choose to give it that meaning, that it's going to ruin my relationship with my husband because it's a bad omen, or it's going to fertilize the crops. But it's just rain. And you see, we attach meaning just like those two twin boys that gave meaning to what their father. One gave meaning to inspire him to become more. The other gave the meaning to give up and to feel like a victim and poor me and life sucks and I'm going to go numb out for the rest of my life with drugs. But you see, the father didn't cause that. The father gave the opportunity for people to make a choice and decision. And it was your attitude and belief that you have to own that changes the experience of the past. So the past happens, pain happens. It's a part of life. And your relationship and your attitude and your belief about yourself and about your experiences in life is the first thing to begin to not only set yourself free from the past, but to begin to become conscious of. Because it is the victim and the immature ego that uses and decides that the past has been their downfall. If only I wasn't, raised with 12 siblings. If only I wasn't an only child. If only I wasn't a little fat kid. If only I wasn't so tall. If only I wasn't. There's always a reason to come up with feeling not good enough. And your ego will find a reason and attach a meaning. But it didn't really cause it. It's what you've decided. Until you decide to own the truth that you are enough, and to mature the ego and to shift and change your attitude and belief, then your reality and your relationship to your reality changes. And likewise, your attitude and beliefs color your thoughts and your feelings about the past. Your attitude and beliefs and your thoughts and feelings were very different from Danny to David. Very different. But what made it different was their consciousness. And one decided to choose to use it as a motivation to become more. The other chose to use it as a reason to become less. And ultimately, what have you done with your excuse of what happened to you in the past? You look at any tremendously successful mega superstar out there who's done tremendous work, and I'll use the example I've used in the past, like Oprah Winfrey or Dolly Parton. They had every reason to be not only mediocre, but to be less than mediocre, to be in pain and struggle. To be born the fourth of 9 children in the poverty-stricken hills of Tennessee, Dolly Parton. She found her music, she found her soul, and she cherished it and loved it, and she wanted to be loved and appreciated for her music. That was her goal and her destiny. She talks about it on a documentary on Netflix called Here I Am. I highly recommend it. It's a brilliant documentary because for somebody who had so many odds stacked against her, you can see very clearly it was her choice, her attitude, and her belief about herself, her past, and her relationship with music that made all the difference in the world. And same with Oprah Winfrey. She was abused, living in the South, very poor, went to live with her grandmother, but she became a megastar because she chose, and she teaches this now. It's about your attitude and your beliefs. You can't go back and change what happened. You see, what's real about the past for you today, what's real is your recollection and your memories. And those are tainted and colored by your ego's attitude and beliefs at that time. And when we're a child, our ego is immature. Our ego feels it's not good enough. Our ego is riddled in shame. Every human being, the first part of your life, in the infantile, childlike ego, is I'm not getting enough love and attention. Therefore I'm not enough. Something must be wrong and flawed about me. And if we leave that part of us to guide and direct us as grown-ups, it can become very, very much the same old, and we get stuck in feeling like a victim and never feeling we're good enough, constantly having to approve and to get everybody's approval and praise and audition to try to get love and validation and approval, because we don't approve and validate ourselves. So that's the first thing that's real about the past. The second component of what's real about the past is your emotional memories and responses, your emotional body, your emotions, what the past made you feel about yourself, and what out of that feeling you created an image of yourself. You decided this is who you are, but it's the emotional impact that the past has that has been mostly, for most grown-ups, repressed and ignored and denied. Because the past was often painful for many, many people. And I think everyone has experienced some level of pain and disappointment and discouragement from going through the past. And because of that unresolved anger, disappointment, hurt, shame, and pain left unresolved, ignored, denied, because, oh, the past is over with. That doesn't really matter. Oh, that was in the past. I'm not going to think about it. It has no influence on me today. Oh, yes, it does. On an emotional body, on an emotional level, those unresolved feelings are repressed, and they're vibrating and creating energy, and they are attracting experiences to you. They are attracting possibilities. They limit you from seeing your potential. They blind you. You see, your emotional body isn't inside of you. It's all around you. It's your auric field. And I like this because, people talk about the fact that they want to be loving. And I just want to love and give love. And love comes through your energy field, right? It comes from your heart chakra and it flows out through the auric field, connecting to the auric field of another person. And then they absorb it in. But if I have repressed anger and guilt and shame that I haven't dealt with, that I ignore and pretend isn't there, then it's going to color and taint the love that I give. It's going to color and taint the caring and compassion and the intimacy. It's going to twist and distort what could be a pure energy because it has to move through the emotional body. So what's real about your past is that your emotional body is a product of the experiences in your past until you go back and heal it and fix it and change it. Until you go back and resolve those unfinished feelings and emotions from sometimes finished relationships. So when you begin, and how you set yourself free from the past is about recognizing and acknowledging, yeah, the past did have impact on you, and it does matter. And the ego's defense mechanisms that says, I just want to run away from it. Flight or fight, right? I just want to run away from the past. And I do that by distracting myself. And that's one of the ways I keep the pain of the past alive, is by distracting myself, keeping myself so busy that I don't have time to think about my past. I just keep myself running forward, running towards some future, some hope, some dream, and dragging along this heavy black sack of my emotional pain, dragging it along subconsciously, weighing me down. And another way that we remain stuck in the past is by discounting it. Oh, it is no big deal, Michaiel. It doesn't really matter. It's water under the bridge. It happened back then. Yeah, I haven't thought about it in years. No, you haven't thought about it in years, but you have this warehouse of hurt that you've never resolved. And that warehouse of hurt needs to be healed in order to not only begin to feel that your own power and strength, but to begin to open up to your full potential as an empowered spiritual being. And so discounting it, denying it. Oh no, I had a great childhood. Everything in my childhood was great. I have all these happy memories and I have no recollection of anything negative that ever happened. Well, no one's past ever is 100% positive. Just like life can't be 100% positive. Life happens. Life happens. And guess what? Life never promised it would be fair. Life never guaranteed or promised you it would be fair. What it does promise you is it's going to be full and overflowing with different experiences to help you to grow. And some of those different experiences are painful and fearful. Some of those difficult experiences are challenging and repressive and oppressive. And you need to learn the lessons to become free from that past. So the past never guaranteed to be fair. When you compare yourself to other people's past, well, they had a much better childhood than me, so therefore I get to justify my life being miserable. Or comparing it is never resolves anything for anybody. And nobody, no matter how much they pretend their past was perfect, really had a perfect past. That's again the way the ego denying the impact of the pain because I don't want to deal with it. So distracting yourself, denying, discounting it, or defending yourself against the past. All of those are ways to build up defense mechanisms to not be able to let go of that past or to set yourself free. And what is yours? What do you do? What is your relationship to your past? And yes, selective memory, I want to remember the good positive things, but sometimes I need to go back and face the pain of the past, the fears of rejection and humiliation, the fears of abandonment and betrayal, and those experiences from the past that might have damaged your hope, might have limited your ability to see the fullness of who you are, this empowered spiritual being. It's like the damage of the past can be a blindfold. It's like looking into the mirror in your bathroom when it's all fogged over and thinking that's you, this fuzzy monster, right? And thinking that's my self-image of me is tainted by the past. And when I can clear out the emotional pain, when I can do the inner child work to heal and reconnect, to heal the part of me from my past, when I can forgive and let go of forgiving myself and forgiving others, then I can clear away the fog on the mirror, and I can more clearly see the powerful being I've always been and am becoming. I've always been and will ultimately end up becoming the empowered destiny. So what's real about your past is the memories anchored into your attitudes and beliefs and the meanings that you attached to your past, that you gave to your past, is what's real today. It's also the emotional baggage of the unresolved, unfinished emotions repressed, depressed in my subconscious mind. And you look at the world today, depression is rampant in our world because it takes a tremendous amount of energy, psychic energy, for a person to keep ignoring, keep denying, keep discounting, keep defending themselves against the past. You have to repress it and deny it and shove it into your subconscious mind. And then it oftentimes goes down and bleeds through into the unconscious mind and comes up through the collective unconscious. All my anger and rage starts to come up and at me as the way of the world. As I see the violence, as I see the hostility, as I see the anger, as I see the frustration, as I see coming at me, surrounding me, is my own shadow, the shadow self of repressed anger, of hurt, and of shame and pain. And so, when you can begin to open up and take responsibility, meaning to respond to my past, and if I do not take responsibility for it, I will continue to react to it. I'll be a knee-jerk response. My fear patterns will keep me limited. My hurt, my disappointment, my judgments of myself is not good enough will keep me imprisoned. I'll keep reacting that way. And all of my connections with the present moment and into the future. So the past does have influence. And it can blind you to the possibilities of the future.